page, there is no papers. Completely technological front, even be it even board resolutions, accessing the financials, and then all working papers, everything is controlled completely electronically. If you get in, you cannot find any even one paper in the on the desk. Okay, that reminds me now, even as we speak today, even with leading accounting world accounting firms also doesn't have, I think, even especially in this Middle East, we don't see this environment today, as an audit practitioner. Okay, so I think it is time for us to change and adopt to the new normal.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Mayank.
Very well.
With your permission, Mayank, I would like to say.
Just hold on, because I'm coming to all of you. So the panelists.
Thank you.
I'm coming to you, Chandra. So thank you. Sure. I think the big, we heard about saying the change is not only constant, innovation is the way to go. And the other big topic of the seminar was business sustainability. So I want to wrap up with that. So everyone agrees that businesses will not go back to operating the way they were till now. So is this an opportunity to build a more resilient, responsible, sustainable model going forward? Can I start with you, please? Business. How do you make a business which is much more sustainable? Chandra, why don't you start? You already unmuted. Can all the panelists unmute themselves, please?
It's I think we all have the responsibility to sort of keep our model sustainable, because more than sustainable, I would like to say more in the concept which is more micro, not in a macro sense, in terms of environmentally sustainable, because we really don't know, the businesses don't have that sort of scale to talk about environmentally sustainable business and so on and so forth. Yes, we all are responsible citizens in terms of what we need to do, how we conduct our business, how do we remain responsible towards the government, the stakeholders, etc., etc. Those are broader things which we need to address. But more importantly, I would say that to keep this business sustainable to the next level, I think we all have to watch over our shoulders, to put it in a very movie-like term. If you don't watch over your shoulders, you don't know what's going to really happen. Because this COVID is completely changed the way, I think, how we are doing business, how we are likely to do business in future. Because there is no norm which we can really learn or unlearn or anything whatsoever. We have to really be alive to what is happening around us. Because see, I can only give one example to sort of buttress my point. A few months ago, I heard that the US universities are not going to have new sort of admissions in a big manner to their universities in this year, because they felt that they're going to do the new way of doing business through online. Now, what is really going to happen if education is going to be like that? That's going to completely change it. It's a paradigm shift, as Sachin mentioned. So we have to be alive to those things. It can happen in every single element way they are doing it. So I think one has to really understand, question ourselves every time what we are going to do. I only have to sort of close it by saying we have to adapt three things. Three words, I would say. Somebody had mentioned, I think Sunil had mentioned, what is one word? I would say three words. That is, arise, adapt, then of course you can achieve. This is my concluding remarks.
Bikram, business sustainability, everyone has got caught unawares this time. Is there a way that we could possibly build a business which could take the ups and downs of business a bit more, with much more resilience?
I think every business is going to be much more dynamic going forward. The changes will be much more faster. Businesses will be ready to adapt to these challenges much more faster, otherwise they'll just disappear. So, of course, we all have to, and I think that's not only to the businesses, that's also to the regulators. The new regulations, the other companies, the businesses, the competition that can come into it. Especially I'm talking about financial services, which is a very heavily regulated industry. And here I'm going to expect that, if other companies can come into, whether it's through crowdfunding, whether it's through, any other sort of financing activity, we are going to be seeing changes which are much more constant. We're going to see changes that are going to be much more faster. And I think here we just need to be on a constant innovation mode ourselves. It's a wake-up call for everybody. And I think there's no going back from here.
Same question, Deepak first and then Sachin, please.
Well, Am I audible? I think.
You're audible.
Okay.
Please go.
I think there is no difference of opinion from others on this subject. We have to change ourselves to the new business culture because what we are doing right now is our response, which is based on our individual capabilities or the capabilities of the organizations to assess the situation and respond to that. So I would call it more of an ad hoc response because there is no set rules, procedures, guidelines that how you have to handle it, except that kind of certain things coming from ministry or government from time to time. But for business to sustain, I think, as I said, as Bikram said, regulators have to change their approach from control driven to probably more liberalized, but or maybe the controls may take a different shape now. Similarly, in a place like India, here we have limited industry, but if you look at a country like India, where something like 300,000 chartered accountants and more than 100,000 in practice auditing the statements of some very small companies who are still, maybe many of them are working on manual accounting systems. I think a lot of things, even particularly Institute of Chartered Accountants, have to undergo a major change in their regulatory process and in their guidelines to their members. How do they act in this kind of situation? From industry to industry, the guide norms have to be formulated, probably by regulators here. I mean, we have to really see the short-term response and the long-term response. Thank you.
Absolutely. Sachin?
Yeah, just continuing on that, I would say continuous review of your business continuity plans has to be, an ongoing process. I think in terms of business and in terms of government also, I think Barack Obama set it up when he was the president. He had a separate department of change management put into place, business development, and how that impacts, people, citizens, industry, etc. and all. I think that will probably be something which the governments may need to look at independently and start looking at as, ongoing process and a separate focus on that particular aspect. So, yeah.
Great. And see, no one can match you in terms of wisdom. So we are giving you the last words. What are your thoughts? Sum it all up.
Increasing my responsibility. I may sound a little bit philosophical. In the 1,800 years, I was just listening that this kind of pandemic has hit more than 100 times. Only thing in the last 100 years, it is becoming more frequent. So that means human beings have to become more prepared to face these kind of a crisis going forward. So my last word, if you ask me, I think leadership is always complacent and more focused on, more focused on the routine activities, firefighting. And so actually in my book, I have dealt with this. The leaders have got no other business other than looking into the future and making the organization more robust. So I think the only word I may probably promote is leadership has to not to wait for a pandemic. They should become more proactive. That's what I want to say.
Brilliant. We need to sum up. I know we have just gone way over time, but a lot of good suggestions, a lot of good ideas, insights have come up. And one good thing is to hear that businesses are managing their in the best possible way, because that's what the survey also showed up moderately well. We are doing it, and the big idea which has come up is innovation, change, and like moving ahead with the times. That's the big thought process which has come up. And I think thank you all the panelists. A big thanks to Mr. N.C. Narayan, Mr. Sachin Bawa, Mr. Deepak Dikshit, Mr. P. Chandrasekhar, and Mr. Bikram Singh Monga for sharing their incisive thoughts. Thank you very much, and over to you, Mr. Prabhu.
Yeah, before we say, I think I'd just like to add the panelists, thanks to you, Mayank, for moderating it very well and keeping the the flow very nicely gone.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very kind.
Thank you very much, Mayank Sharma ji, for your wonderful moderation, and keep everybody keep thinking. And now I request our past chairperson, C. Ashwini, to have a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Prabhu. Mr. Ashwini,
Ashwini ji,
yeah, sorry, I forgot to unmute.
Discussion.
Can you hear me now?
yes,
Yeah.
please.
Right. Namaste to everyone. It has been great listening to all the views of the stalwarts, industry stalwarts, and excellent moderation by Mr. Mayank. Also, you mentioned about insurance. Since I come from the insurance background, I'll have a word about insurance. Yes, you were right that at the moment, insurance seems to have been less affected. However, and that's very clear because there were less cars on the road, or there were not many people were visiting the hospitals. So those were the obvious reasons. Medical claims and motor claims were on the downside, and that has helped the bottom line for insurance companies. However, generally, insurance sector sees effect of economy with a lag, and that's why probably things. So insurance companies are not taking it lightly and should not, because things could come up in the future. As in these times, there are a lot of people have moved to technology usage. So cyber crimes and cyber related claims could be the thing coming up in the future. And that could be a new area where insurance companies need to really give services to their customers. As well as another thing is that in the current times, when companies are working at 30%, 20%, 40% of staff strength, there were a lot of internal controls in companies were being, shortcuts were being used, and internal controls were being used in a different way. So this is expected to give rise to any liability kind of claims also. As businesses come back to normal, if any frauds and things have happened in companies, then there could be liability kind of claims coming up. So that's where insurance companies could be seeing a lagged effect of the pandemic which has happened. It has been, so that was on the insurance sector. Wonderful session and greatly done by, moderated by Mr. Mayank. Just to summarize what most of us, what we heard today, I liked some concepts which were mentioned, arise, adapt and achieve, which C.A. Chandra mentioned. The pandemic has been a wake-up call for everyone. All of you mentioned that change is the only continuous thing, common constant thing that has to happen. And as businesses, we need those businesses which have been more agile, have been able to adapt better to the situation. They have been probably less affected. And as I think NC Narayan ji mentioned, continuous review of continuity plans and leadership. He mentioned about leadership needs to be more focused on the future growth and not be bogged down by the routine business activities. I think resilience, building resilience, this is what is going to help cost optimization. Great. I mean, I think all of us have got a wonderful message through this, and it's been great listening to you all. Thank you. With this, I hand over back to C.A. Ravi Devraji.
Thank you, Ashwini ji. Now it's time to honor. Prabhu bhai, you want to say?
No.
Yeah. Now it's time to honor our panelists. So now I request P.R. Subramanian ji, or past chairman, to give this moment, this e-certificate to Mr. Sachin Bawa ji.
Right, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be on the panel. Thank you all.
Yeah,
thank you
P.R. Subramanian ji, you need to say something. P.R. Subramanian ji. P.R. ji.
To do the
unmute yourself.
Okay. Mr. Sachin, you had a tremendous session today. We all enjoyed your sharing, and you deserve this certificate. And thanks to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, Sachin. Next is that now I request Mr. Atulya Sharma ji to hand over the next certificate to NC Narayan ji. Atulya ji, you need to unmute yourself.
Mr. Narayan, it was really a pleasure to hear your thoughts. I think Mayank summed it up very well, that you encapsulated a lot of the thoughts discussed by all the panelists, and it was really great hearing you. You talked about the lean model, you talked about resilience and leadership, and I think you surely deserve this certificate. I'm so honored to be handing it over to you.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor and privilege meeting all of you, and thank you for a wonderful certificate. I appreciate it.
Basant Kumar Dugarji, so you need to give the Singapore chapter vice chairman, sir, you need to give the certificate to Mr. Bikram Singh Monga ji. Basantji, unmute yourself.
Yes, this is Basant Kumar Dugar, Vice Chairman, Bangkok Chapter, to Bikram Singh ji Monga ji on his presentation on cost optimization and sustainability.
Thank you very much.
Both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Topics are very
Thank you very much.
Now I request CA Ramanand Prabhuji to give the certificate to Mr. Deepak Dikshit ji, because other past chairmen we are missing them. Anuradha Venkat is there. Anuradha ji is there. Anuradha ji is there. Let Anuradha ji give the certificate to Deepak ji.
Yes.
Anuradha ji.
Anuji, you are there?
Anuji,
sorry. Yes. Deepak, it's been my pleasure and privilege to give you this certificate. I think you are one of the most experienced CAs of the chapter, and you really added a lot of value-added thoughts to this conference. And again, I'm so happy to give you this. Thank you so much for participating as a panelist.
Thank you very much, Anu. Thank you very much, CA Prabhu, Ravi, and all MC members, and my fellow panelists today. And my special thanks to Mr. Mayank for the wonderful job he did, to make this very, very interesting discussion today. And it has really been a proud privilege for me to be associated with this panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deepak Dikshit. You have been great support, and you have a guide, and you have been also guru for all of us on this Teachers' Day. I bow my head to you and honor this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. CA Prabhu, Chairman of ICA Muscat chapter, will honor Mr. P. Chandrasekhar ji for his contribution.
Chandrasekhar ji, thank you very much to be with our panel and share your insights, and taken all of us to a deep dive into COVID pandemic 19 and our preparedness. As you rightly said, you have said arise, adapt, and achieve. I want to add one more, as you should say, we should understand, absorb, adapt, and apply. And all of chartered accountants are ready to take the next challenge. And I'm sure we will all successfully come out with this pandemic, and moving forward, we will able to
Thank you, sir.
come out and put back economy on the track. Thank you very much, Chandrasekhar ji, for this
Thank you, Prabhu.
Panel discussion and then sharing your thoughts. Thank you very much.
I greatly appreciate the digital e-certificate. It is in the spirit and the line of the conference. It's an innovation from the Muscat chapter to give the digital certificate. In that sense, I think it goes in line with the conference theme and so on and so forth. And to be participating and be with the the greats in the panel, it's given me a very special privilege, for which I'm eternally grateful to each one of you. The Muscat chapter, the past chairman, the past managing committee members, and the entire plan has been doing a splendid job. I think it's simply fabulous. Thank you very much for this great opportunity.
Now I request C. Ashwini ji, our past chairman, a chairperson, to give this like a captain of the seat with the moment with the e-certificate. Ashwini ji.
Yeah. Mr. Mayank Singh, as Sri Ravi Devra rightly said, the captain of the ship is very important. So you led the discussion and it went through very fluently with a chain of thoughts and bringing enlightenment to all of us who are participating. It's my great pleasure to present you with this e-certificate, Mr. Mayank Singh. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us on this and being the moderator.
Thank you, Madam Ashwini. It's been a
Thank you very much, Mayank Singh.
No, thank you, Mr. Prabhu. Thanks, Mr. Devra. I mean, I know a lot went into putting this together with a very small team, and hats off to this whole effort, and heartiest congratulations to the Muscat chapter of ICAI. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayank.
Now I request our Vice Chairman, Mr. Sanil Varghese, to say a vote of thanks. Sanil ji.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. It's time for lunch. I will speedily finish my task. First of all, let us thank the Chief Guest of the Day, Mr. Ali Mohammed Redha, for his presence today and to deliver the address to us. We have two guest of honors, CA Rajesh Sharma, our Central Council member, then Mr. Atulya Sharma, CEO UMS. Thanks both of you for your presence as well as your patronage to our chapter. And OER as well as Business Life has agreed to be our media partner for this show. We look forward to the involvement with the OER as well as Business Life in the future too. And the panelists for the day were CA Sachin Bawa, Mr. MC Narayan, Mr. Bikram Singh, and Mr. CA Deepak Dikshit. Thanks everybody for your active involvement for the day. And special thanks to Mr. Mayank Singh for moderating the show. Apart from this, we have to thank our sponsor, CBFS, who has been a continuous support for us from the beginning of the chapter activities till today. Unfortunately, I think we couldn't get in some of them during this session. Thank you all of the members for their presence. But we have to thank CA Ravi for organizing all these in such a nice manner, coordinating with everybody. Thank you, CA Ravi. Thank you all. Have a nice lunch. Bye-bye.